Hi, my name is Stephanie Herr, and today I wanted to talk about your data and how DBAs and data fit in DevOps. My background is in software development and database development. I've used Oracle and SQL Server in the past, so this is going to be biased around that. But my whole goal today is really to get us to start thinking about the data and how this fits in DevOps, and also to start the conversation with your DBA. And I purposely said your data because I want us to start thinking about it being our data. Even if you're not the DBA, it's still your data. It's the business's data, and it's the critical data that's either driving your application or that your application is collecting that future business decisions are going to be based on. So how does data and DBAs fit into our theme here of inclusivity, complex systems, and empathy? And we really need to include the database and the DBA as part of our DevOps discussion. So the DBA has kind of a special role within operations. But we can't forget about the data. What good is it if we have a completely streamlined process and continuous delivery for our application, and then we have a manual deployment for our database? That's going to be the bottleneck. So we need to include that as part of our complex system. And as Dave said in his blog, that we can't manage these manually, and we need tools in place. So there's some tools that we can already adopt from application development that apply to the database. So things like your infrastructure, automating the installation of SQL Server, source controlling your configuration, so you have a repeatable process, and you can create multiple servers. Once that's in source control, you need to get your database into source control. Your database is code, your tables, your functions, your stored procedures, especially your stored procedures if they have business logic in them. In addition, you want your static data in source control. So this is your reference data, your lookup tables, anything that you should be tracking alongside the application and the schema. You want to version it, and you need to have it as part of your deployment process, so it gets deployed to your other environments and to production as a whole. Once this is in source control, you can start thinking about continuous integration for your database. And every time you make a change, commit that to source control and automatically building your database to validate those scripts in the source control system. And then you can actually unit test your database. So just like a JUnit or NUnit, you can get test results and quick feedback on how your database changes are impacting your tests, and you can automate that. And you want that feedback to be really quick. And then you can have other kinds of automated testing, which is maybe like a nightly build or an ad hoc push of a button, where you do integration testing, performance testing, load testing, to give you more confidence in your build and in the database changes. Once you have it in source control and you have CI and your tests are confident, you can then automate the deployment and start thinking about things like continuous delivery and continuous deployment. And you need the confidence in this to be able to do it. And again, it's a push of a button to go to testing, go to QA, go to staging, and really make that repeatable and easy, especially if you're deploying to multiple production environments or if you're doing a lot of releases in an agile world. You might still want that manual intervention on production before pushing that button. And finally, that brings me to empathy and understanding the DBA's concerns and how they work on the production system. So we've heard that developers are all about making great code and making changes and wanting to release them as fast as possible so their end users can start getting value. And the DBAs are all about the production system and the protection of that production system. And this is really where application and database start to differ. Because when you deploy an application, you just overwrite what's on production. Can't do that with your database. Again, it all comes back to your data and protecting that data. You can't overwrite it, you can't corrupt it, so you need to protect it. There's also situations where your data is extremely sensitive, so you might not have access to your production data. And the first time you do a deployment to production, that might be the first time you're actually testing it. So the better you can have a staging environment to practice that deployment beforehand, makes the deployment to production less risky. Also, the DBAs are the ones in the middle of the night that are going to get called if there's a problem. So I really like Walter's idea, let's give the pagers to the developers, see how much they want to do that production push then. So again, I hope this just kind of gets you to start thinking about how important data is and that it can be included in your existing processes. And just go have a conversation with your DBA. Maybe invite them to play rock band. Thank you.